Dan Sisseck here, and it is Tuesday, July 8th. Uh, and sorry, I'm off on my days for some odd reason. I'm here over at a friend's house. I'm doggy sitting Joey, Sebastian, and Teddy. And there's some good friends of mine from church and stuff, and they asked me to come over and you know, uh, dog sit for them. And I've done this now for the last, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. And tonight I'm covering over a couple other points from the other night's blog post that I did about taking the leap of faith and about some aspects about some things that my pastor talked about when I was at the church service this week. But it carried over into things I'm looking at and what I've talked about before. I've talked about this before in some cases, but maybe not from a perspective of how um, a lot of times, we talk about wanting things to be just perfect or just right, and I've covered that before. But a lot of times, I never really realized this point that he made about, and I commented in this last blog post on what was it, Sunday, that a lot of times, you know, we don't move forward because of the certainty part, because we want to know 100% certain that it's going to be, just this way, come out this way. But I never put a whole lot of thought into that aspect of it, of how, even for in my own life, as I look back now, I've held back because of things that I wanted to be just this way. I wanted to know for sure. And but maybe had I gone ahead and done some of the things I wanted to do rather than holding back, who knows what I could have done. Now, as I'm stepping out and building my business and doing more and more and stepping into that, I'm realizing that by stepping into it and doing it and just taking that chance, a lot of times I find a way or find the meaning or find how, or it comes to me. I work through it. I get to it. Get there to where it's, you know, comes to me, or I get there and it's like, oh, well, I could do this or I could do that, you know, by sitting there and saying, well, if it's this way, if it's that way, if this is perfect, or if that's lined up, I'm putting way too much, in the what ifs and not in the doing. And as my mentors, as my sponsor, as people I work with in my business and I'm uh, partners with and they're partners with me, I'm learning more and more. It's not so much in the perfection, it's in the doing. Doing it is how you come and work towards perfection. You will never ever have perfection. Nothing will ever be perfect. I'm sorry. Even I think even like in sports and stuff, when they say that's perfect 10, when that's perfect or stuff, I think we can come close to perfection, and I think we can almost have it perfect. But I don't think anything is ever perfect. You know, that's just part of how things are. I think. If things were perfect, um, we wouldn't have buildings that after time, after ages and stuff collapse. We wouldn't have you know um, societies being the way they are and where they're at and what they're doing to each other and things like that. If things were perfect, everybody would get along. It's in acting and going through it and living it and being part of it. That's where you deal with it, and that's where you grow, and that's where you find that it's in that being a part of it. That's where you reap the rewards out of what you do. And it's just like listening to the morning mindset call with Paul Hutchings this morning, talking about inspiration, doing something. Um, he talked about a story about a guy helping this town build a new bridge or something about a way to get transportation to and from a small town to a big to Chicago, I think it was. And in it, there were all these people that were capable and able to do it, but they didn't have the inspiration or the idea or the willingness to go forward, and they didn't have the willingness to go forth and put between the what the one guy did was he went to three parts of the people that could make what happen, and instead of having one person put the whole bill of let's say I think it was $100,000, he broke it down for him in between the three prospective parts, the commission, this one trolley line, I think it was, and this one train company, I think, were willing to split up the cost of doing what was needed to build this road and build this um, uh, way to get traffic and people to move between the small town and then Chicago. And by him stepping out and making those proposals and having that foresight and that willingness to do it and not having the perfect plan, but he went to the one, started it, then realized, well, if they're willing to do this, who else part of this equation will be willing to do the other parts that are needed to get it done? It wasn't bought out of he had a semi plan, but it wasn't bought out of a perfect plan. Once again, he acted, he went to it, he did it, and he stepped into it, and therefore that led to other things and being appointed to this position and being put there and being brought in to help consult on this and that, and open doors up for him into other areas that would never have opened up had he not had that willingness to step out and act even though nothing was perfect. So with that, make it a simply simple day. Hope you got some value out of this. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.